Welcome to the Executive Pill, the podcast that gives you the cheat code for leadership success. I'm your host, Alex D. Tremble, and today we're diving into the transformative power of feedback and how you can turn it into a catalyst for growth. Look, let's cut to the chase. No one likes feedback. Feedback is uncomfortable. It puts you many times on the defensive. But what if the secret to unlocking your full potential lies in embracing it? Today, we're flipping the script on feedback, transforming it from a dreaded critique to a tool for unstoppable growth. And with years of experience coaching top executives and interviewing leaders from Fortune 500 companies, I've seen firsthand how powerful feedback can be when approached the right way. So, again, I hope you're looking forward to this journey. This is the Executive Appeal, the show where we decode the secrets of leadership excellence. So, like double dutch, let's jump into this. Let's be real. Most people don't enjoy feedback. It puts them on the defensive, it feels uncomfortable, and sometimes it can feel like they're being targeted. But the magic happens when we shift from feedback to feed forward, focusing on future potential instead of past mistakes. Feed forward is about identifying the goals of the individual you're speaking with and the skills needed to achieve those goals. It's a proactive approach that aligns feedback with their aspirations, which makes it easier to accept and act upon. I honestly can't say I came up with this. This guy who you all may have heard of, Marshall Goldsmith, one of the most prolific coaches for extremely successful executives, such as like the CEO of Fox or GE or Amazon, they would hire him on. And the problem he consistently ran into was that how do you tell someone who's achieved that much success that they're doing something maybe not great? Because easy for them to say was, well, I mean, I'm here. So whatever I'm doing must be working. And so what he found was that instead of trying to critique their past behaviors, he always tied it to the future. Well, is this where you want to be? Is this the end for you? If you want to grow and do more, then let's talk about the skills, the behaviors, the qualities you're going to need to get to that next level. So again, no longer talking about what happened in the past. It's all focused on the future. And when you tie your thoughts and your ideas and your suggestions and those opportunities to future, to their aspirations, to where they already want to go in life, it is so much easier to get them to sign on. And so my team utilized this approach, the feed forward approach, as our foundation. And through years and years of iteration and working with senior level executives, we actually created a specific tool called the GPS Clear Feedback Model, which was built to help executive leaders give feedback to their teams, to their peers, and really anyone in a more effective way that calls out behaviors and is much more willing and positions it in such a way that people are much more willing to actually accept the feedback and integrate it. Because if you give feedback to someone and they don't accept it, there's no behavior change, then really you've wasted your time and you wasted their time and you wasted your breath. So look, if this is something you're interested in gaining, we normally implement this tool when we're on our onboarding process and through our executive retreats and so on and so forth, but we're happy to share it with you. Just reach out to our team at team@gpsleadership.org. Send us an email asking for the GPS Clear Feedback Model, and we're happy to share it with you. So let's jump back into it. The reality is as executives, our views shape our experiences. And those experiences really do impact how we see the world. And ultimately create blind spots. I love this story I tell about, I'll be really quickly, about how when I was younger, not too much younger, a few years ago, I ended up getting sick for a while. And I wasn't sure what was going on. My eyes were always itching and I was sneezing and coughing and couldn't breathe well. I didn't know what was going on. And so I finally went to the doctors, and then the doctor did some tests. They run some tests, and they say, "Are you allergic to anything?" I said, "Nah, not really. I don't think so." And they did these tests, and they looked at me again. They said, "Hey, Alex, we're looking for results. Are you sure you're not allergic to anything?" I said, "No, I don't think so." They said, "Well, how about grass? Are you allergic to grass at all?" And I said, "Well, no, I actually played football and an undergrad, college, and in high school and in elementary. And I've been playing football a long time, and we are always in the grass. So I'm not. I'm sure I'm not allergic to grass. I mean, yeah, I itch like everyone else when I'm in the grass, but that's a thing, right?" And they said, "No, that that is not a thing. Most people do not itch when they're in the grass." And I said, "Oh, oh." That was a cool realization, right? Because that was my normal, because that was my experience, that is what I thought was real, was true. I had no idea that other people were not experiencing life the same way I experienced it, because that was all I knew. Another way of saying this is that was my blind spot, right? And as leaders, yourself and your team members, I promise you, the vast majority of people are just trying to do their best. And they don't always realize that that the behaviors that they're engaging in on a daily, weekly, monthly basis may be having a negative impact on their team members, on the project, on the overall mission and outcome of the organization, on ROI. They may not even be noticing it. And this is why I stress so much why feedback is so important, and your ability and willingness to give feedback is so important. Because otherwise, what ends up happening is someone consistently has a behavior over a long period of time that's just negatively impacting the team and or business results, ROI, revenue, and so on and so forth, and then they just get fired. Well, this person's not producing. And the reality is maybe if you would have stepped out of your comfort zone and provided them with feedback, they may have made the change. But again, you can't just stop there. It can't just be you want to. I always tell people, when you want behavior change, it's not about just the intent. You can have all the wonderful intent in the world. You want to help this person be successful. You want to help the team reach a particular goal. You want these things. You have great intent. Yeah, great. If you don't have the skills, it doesn't matter. You can still harm people. You can still communicate in a way that no one's going to listen to you. They're going to shut their brains off because how you're communicating it. And this is why it's so important to understand how to provide this information, so people are more likely to actually accept it and engage in behavior change, and actually have the outcomes that you're looking to have. And this also then makes the point why feedback from diverse perspectives help us see opportunities and challenges we may be missing, right? The reality is that if I'm only getting feedback from a particular person who I like, which is a whole nother story, we can get into another episode, then we only now have my perspective of the situation and that person's perspective. And if I like them, they're probably like me. So we're probably missing a whole nother lens of what's happening and what could be the case, right? And so this is why it's important to make sure that everyone on your team has the skills to, one, have that uncomfortable conversation, because if you're not willing to have the uncomfortable conversation, you're not going to do anything. But then two, also have the skills to have that conversation, the to know the right words and the right framing. And again, this is why we share that tool. Again, feel free to reach out to us. And look, I'm just going to be real here. When you're giving feedback, and again, this is in the tool as well. But when you're giving feedback, you need to be specific. You need to identify the behaviors that actually need to be adopted or stopped. It is not good enough to say, "Hey, that was a great meeting," or "Hey, you got to do better, man. You messed it up." You're pissing everyone off. What does any of what I just said, how can that be used to help someone? They have no idea. There's a million things they could have done that could have pissed someone off, that could have made the meeting go downhill, that would have made the project not as successful as it could be. It's about identifying the specific behavior. So if you're annoyed with someone, you can't just stop there. Oh, I'm annoyed at that person. Okay. Why am I annoyed at that person? Okay, well, last week they said some stuff that really didn't sit well with me. Okay. What did they say? What did they actually say? Okay, well, they use these particular words when they laid out the issue that the project was dealing with, and the way they made it, the way they said it, made it look like it was my fault, and that wasn't the case. Okay, so what you're saying is how they delivered that specific information, the words, maybe. Was there anything else? Well, yeah, and I saw how they kind of angled themselves at me, and they kind of pointed my direction. I'm not sure if they were really doing it towards me or not, but it looked, everyone else started looking at me too. Oh, okay. Once you dive into the of what actually happened, now you can have a conversation with someone and say, hey, look, um, I know that you said you really are looking forward to becoming the new chief people officer, or the new chief financial officer, or whatever it is, that next VP, SVP, chief level. I know you said you're really interested in this. Do you mind if I provide you some feedback really quickly? During that meeting, you said these particular words, and when you made a reference, it it made me feel as if X, Y, and Z. Or after the meeting, some people actually came to me afterwards and said they didn't really understand what you were saying, and that it wasn't very clear to them. And so, do you think there's a way that you can clarify how you're speaking in the future? And just have that conversation. Again, the tool we have, the GPS Clear model, clearly helps you walk through how to have that conversation. But the point being here, you gotta be specific, okay? Otherwise, they won't know what you're talking about, and really, it'll come off to them as if you're just being critical of them, right? Hey, that sucked, dude. Do better. Who wants to hear that? And how does that help them, right? So, look, it's the difference between, it's the shift from being nice to being kind, right? So many people don't want to give feedback because they don't want the other person to feel bad. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Oh, they may not like me. And really, it's generally not about them, right? It's about you, because you don't want them to be mad at you. You don't want them to be upset with you, right? And how, so it's not even generally about that person. It's yourself. So it's shifting from thinking you need to be nice to being kind, because most people want to do their jobs well. You not giving them feedback does not help them, because likely they will continue the behavior over and over and over. I can't tell you how many times I've been working with clients, and they call out how someone is not, one of their leadership team members is not performing at the level they need to perform at. And I'll ask them every single time, okay, so when did you talk to them about it? Well, I haven't spoken to them about it directly, but they should know. Why should they know? Well, and then we go down that path, right? And so, again, the first thing becomes, you can't hold someone accountable for doing something you didn't tell them to do, or you didn't call out that they were doing. So, the takeaways from here, again, we always end our episodes with a start, stop, continue. So, start. I'd like you to start, or I'm encouraging you to start embracing feedback as a tool for growth, and aligning it with your future goals when you're receiving it, and their future goals when you're giving it. Okay. Second, stop viewing feedback as criticism for yourself, right? And don't view it as criticism for the person you're giving it to. Shift your mindset to see it as an opportunity for improvement for that person as well as yourself, right? And finally, continue. Continue seeking diverse perspectives to uncover your own blind spots and grow as a leader, as well as encouraging your team members to seek out diverse perspectives so they can continue to grow as well. So, feedback is the compass that guides us forward. Embracing it is not criticism. It shouldn't be criticism of the past, but instead a roadmap that we can institute in our life to reaching our future goals, our future success, the ambition that we have, right? Look, as always, I thank you so much for joining us. Remember, feedback isn't a setback. It's your secret weapon to growth. As always, please, if you haven't done so, click that like button. Share this with someone else if this is set on your heart well. And I encourage you, as always, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Executive Appeal with Alex Tremble. I invite you to follow The Executive Appeal wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow me, your host, Alex Tremble, across all socials or via email for exclusive webinars, courses, and speaking engagements on continued topics of executive leadership. So, until next time, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.